Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Pass the Mic, where we are here to highlight alternative rock, electronic music producers, musicians, and artists. Today, we have a great episode with
Laling.
Thank you for coming here. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm a little nervous, but cool to be here with you.
Thank you for being here with me. Just for some background information for everybody, Lalin is here because our amazing past interviewee, Chris, has passed the mic over to her. So we are so lucky to have her here today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you, Pawai, Chris, for passing the mic to me. So my real name is Linda Artola, but I go by Laling, and I am from Diriamba, Nicaragua. I live in Brooklyn, New York. I've been in the States for the last 12 years. And yeah, I'm very interested in music. I love music. It's always been part of my life. I love dancing and I love listening. I love looking at it live. I love touching it through my vinyls. And yeah, that's a little bit of me.
You're in the right place today. Today is all about music. I mean, if we stay focused, it's going to pretty much be all about music. So thanks for sharing a little bit more about you. So as much as you love music, like who are you listening to? Who are you interested? How are you here now? Like what's inspired you and moved you to be a musician and be excited about it? Well, you also said dance too. What are your interests? What are your inspirations? Can you share a bit more?
Yeah. Well, I think music, music, it's such an important magical thing in our lives and for humanity, because I think that it's a medium where we connect in so many levels. I feel that music, it's like the first entrance to get to know a culture, to feel feelings, to celebrate, also to mourn. I just think that music allows us to be in community and be with ourselves, and it's a great way to inspire and to make life more meaningful and beautiful. So my interest, so I love dancing. That's like before, and I don't want to call myself a musician. We'll get to that, but more right now, my my title, if I have to put a title on myself, it's more music selector. And I just think that because of, we get so much influence in our lives, right, with music, that I feel that that's been, that's like the focus or the thing that I'm doing right now. But, let's start from the beginning that, yes, I love dancing, and dancing, not professionally, just like as a way to express myself. And this has been part of my life since I was a little kid, family meetings, piñatas, weddings, Christmas parties, New Year's parties, like whatever type of like family meeting that we would have, there was always music present. And even as a kid, playing with my cousins or with friends or with family members, like I was always like running around between the adults, and like adults like partying around me, and like I took it as a it was part of my life. But I was always like part of the party. Like I've always wanted to be like dancing and
the party animal.
yeah, since a kid. The other day I was telling the story that my mom, like, there is this particular song that it's called Sopa de Caracol, and like it's punta from Honduras, and like the way that you dance it, like you have to move like your hips very fast. Yeah. And like like when you do that, like your stomach hurts. So like I used to, like I was like, oh, like it hurts, and my mom was like, then why are you dancing? And I was like, because I want to. And I just kept dancing.
You're like, I can't stop.
Yeah. So yeah, and what am I listening to, or what I've been listening through all of my life? I feel that I'm a multifaceted and multi-genres of music lover, I would say. Like I feel that I'm kind of like a roconola. I don't know, like a how do you call like the music jump box? Is that how you call them? In the bars where like you can like select a song, like you will pay for a song.
I don't know what they're called.
Oh my God, I think it's
There's a word. We don't have them in Gambia, so wait, but okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, in
a jukebox in English?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of like that. Yeah. I mean, in Latin America, in Nicaragua, like we call it roconola.
Okay.
And like, yeah. So I feel that I'm like a roconola, because I can go from like a very, I don't know, deep kind of like slow ballad to like a very kind of like traditional folkloric music or song from Nicaragua to like, heavy metal kind of like music. I will go from like, dancing like salsa. I love salsa, to like, I don't know. I mean, to like cumbia or like super futuristic, crazy cumbia to like very traditional. So like, I
Mm-hmm.
feel that I'm like a mix of like a lot of things. And yeah, that's what I'm very interested in
Mm-hmm.
and like the music that I like to listen and support.
I think that's great. I think like music purists that are like, I only listen to one genre. It's just like, do you? I mean, okay, like,
Yeah.
but life is so much sweeter when you're able to like appreciate so many different genres and the histories and stories behind them, I think, as
Yes.
well. So
Yeah.
we love to highlight the rock lovers on the show. So we have to ask rock bands who you listen to. And also, we're not taking the cop out of you saying you're not a musician because I have background information from you about your vocalist life that you're hiding from us. We're going to touch on that. Who are you listening to rock wise, though?
Rock wise though, right now. Oh my God.
Right today. Who would you put on right now?
Today, well, not today, but yesterday, I was actually listening to Rage Against the Machine because I just bought a record and I have it right here. That's what I was listening like, yeah, just yesterday.
Rage
Because
is classic.
yes, I know.
You're like, I have the receipts. I was listening to
Evil Empire. Yeah. Yeah. I'm more recently like I've been like buying like a little bit more of like rock
Mhm.
music. And I also got as a birthday gift, pre-birthday gift, like I wanted to buy like this record. But it was like I had to buy it like the only place that it was available, it's in a store in Argentina. And so I was just like checking and I was like, oh my God, like the shipping is gonna be so expensive. Like maybe I should just like buy a few more and then, like it will be
Mm.
cheaper. So I was like, okay, Linda, you're gonna do this. And I just bought like all these records. And another one that I do want to highlight because I've been listening to it a lot. It's a record from this band called Sumo. No, yeah, no, I don't find it, but yeah, Sumo.
Okay.
I've been also listening to Soda Stereo. Soda Stereo, it's a classic. And yeah, this record is, I just got it too, and I just love it.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
an unplugged version of Soda Stereo. Um, yeah, and the singer, so this is a band from Argentina, and
Mm.
they had a huge influence in Latin America, in the rock scene. And the singer Gustavo Cerati, he unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but I consider him like one of my favorite songwriters and just musician from or more recent
Hmm.
period of like
I'm gonna check it
music
out.
in Latin America.
I just actually watched this live set from this band from Argentina, and the name escapes me. I'll send the name to you, but I literally just watched it like last week when I was packing, and it was really good. I was like, okay, you're doing some
Yeah,
things, you're doing some things. All right, great.
yeah.
Well, okay. I'm not letting you escape from this music pass with CulturaFolk was the band, right?
Yes,
Okay.
CulturaFolk.
Yeah, so
So
you were doing vocals. Tell us more.
yeah, so well, so I was saying I'm from Nicaragua, and so let me start. So yeah, I sing. I never took like classes or anything. It just
Mm,
kind of like happened. Well, I mean, I did take like a little bit of classes, but as many musicians, like I actually, the first time that I got to like sing, let's say that I discovered that I could sing, it was through church. And
okay.
like my mom used to sing in a chorus, and like I will go to like the rehearsals with her, and same as the family parties, like I was just like playing around and like playing to be an adult, and like I would just like stare and listen to what adults were doing. And yeah, I mean, I was listening to all these songs, so like I knew the lyrics, so I just started singing. And they had like this a chorus director or something, and he was the one like, hey, like you sing. And I was
Mhm.
like, okay. And like they wanted to like take me into the chorus, but I was rebellious. I was like, I'd like to sing, but I don't want to sing in the church.
You're like, now that you've told me that I can sing, I don't want to anymore. Okay. It is what
Yeah,
it
so
is.
so that lasted for like a year or something, but then like like my rebellious period of like of life
Mhm,
came over, and I was like, I don't want to go to church anymore. I don't want to sing in the chorus. Like, yeah, I just want to I just want to go my own way. But
mhm,
a few years later, like I started, I started to go to concerts and, and to like know, I knew a couple of musicians. And then there was this band that they were trying to find a singer. So they did kind of like, a little, um, what is it called? Oh my God.
Like a
They
talent
call,
search? Auditions or like
yeah,
a
auditions,
okay, okay.
auditions. Yeah, so they did some auditions, and I think only like three people showed up, and I was one of them. I was 16 years old in this moment of my life. I was
Mm-hmm.
a little kid, and they were like, "Okay, I think you're the perfect match." And I was like, "Okay." Oh my God, like now I have to tell my mom, how is she gonna let me go to the rehearsals and go to concerts? But in that
Mm-hmm.
moment, like I didn't feel it like it was like a serious thing. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like we'll just do it for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way that it used to work too, like it was kind of like, like kind of like these local bands that just
Mm-hmm.
wanted like to get together and, play some music, have some fun, but never like, oh, I'm gonna be the singer and the rock star. And
Mm-hmm.
no, like I've never had like that idea in my head. Anyway, we started playing covers. Um I would say that my inspirations in that moment, like I was really looking to female singers, of course, because I mean, we were doing their songs, we were covering their songs, but also like I just thought that they were like amazing women.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, some of those include, for example, Aterciopelados, which is a pretty famous band from Colombia. The name of the singer it's Andre Chaverri. And what other band? The Cranberries was a big influence for me. Um, and then I mean those were kind of like the most similar things that we were trying to do. But also, I was looking other inspirations were like, I don't know, Selena, Shakira, I don't know, Gloria Estefan, like more like pop singers.
Mm-hmm.
But our interest, we wanted to do rock, like we wanted to be like dark and cool, and like so yeah, so I sang.
But wait, Shakira was like really like a rocker babe until she wasn't, and I'm mad
Until she
about it every
wasn't.
day.
Until she wasn't. I mean, Shakira, it's like, I mean, that's like another whole episode, right? But no, definitely Shakira, like when she was like on TV, like I mean, I used to watch her on MTV, and like she was like in all the radio stations, and like as a songwriter, I mean, she was amazing. Like she was playing guitar, she was playing drums, like she was singing, she was dancing, she was like all everywhere. Like she had such a strong presence, and she was kind of like dark, and
Mm-hmm.
like cool. Like I mean, I think every teenage girl in Latin America wanted to be Shakira. And
Mm-hmm.
then other things. Then she moved to other commercial spaces that it just changed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so we started with covers, and that was like a good period because like I was like first like I was testing myself, like I was like rehearsing, I was like learning how to like arrange songs, and how to, even if I was singing covers, like how to bring like my own voice, and not to sound identical as the singers that we were like trying to that we were honoring, right, with their music, playing their music. So that was like a period, and there were just a few bands around, and then like we started doing original songs, and that was like a very cool period. Like it was just like a time where like we just got together again, to have fun, but also like we were more serious about it. We're like, okay,
Mm.
like, how do we want to sound? Like these are like we are clear about our inspirations, but how do we want to sound? Like what are the sounds that we want to bring in, and the lyrics too, right? So it was very, like I would call it like experimental, like
Mm-hmm.
tropical experimental rock, I would say. It had a little bit of like ska and a little bit of reggae. So yeah, it was cool. After like that period of like doing covers, like we started doing original songs, and it was really like a collaborative thing. And yeah, so we got to do a couple of songs, but we only got to record one song. Um, in that moment, it was like very difficult to have access to recording studios. It was also like it was weird because like like there were like these national bands playing around, but like national radios, they wouldn't play national bands. Like they will play like national, like some national artists, but
Mm-hmm.
really like rock, it was really kind of like rock and metal, like it was just kind of like on the side. So
Mm-hmm.
so it always felt like a very underground type of scene. So there was not really that much support, but we got to record one song, and it's called Delirio. And And there was one radio that used to play national bands,
Mhm.
and in that period of time, there were only three bands who had woman in
Okay.
as a member of the bands, and the three of them were, I mean, I was part of it. We were the vocalists, so
Mhm.
like that also kind of like paid like a special attention to the band. Like it was the different thing, right? I mean, maybe some people, some people were like, they didn't like take us serious, but other
Mhm.
people were like, oh, like this is cool, this is different. And so like that song, when it hit the radio, it just like exploded. And then these other two bands, one was Plomo. I forgot what was the singer's name. Um, but then there was another band that it was called Aguizotes, and also Necrosis was the same singer, and she was super heavy metal,
Mhm.
and the other one was like more like a little bit more heavy rock. I was more like on the alternative side. So
Mm.
the song was really like, out there, and people learned the song, and that was the moment where like there was no social media, there was like nothing, right? So like you will listen to what was in the radio,
Mhm.
and so like that really created like, a moment for the band. And like I'm very proud of that, because like, I feel that I contributed to, the list of songs from that moment, from that period of like national rocknica, which is, I mean, that's how we call it, rocknica. So yeah, this was like, mid 2000s, I would say, like 2004, 2005. And then, we continued playing for a little bit, but then, the band, we fell apart. But
You did your job. You released that one song, made your stamp on
yeah.
history.
Yeah, and also like, I mean, in the moment, like I was just like doing my thing, right?
Mhm.
And I was doing it for fun, and like, yeah, I was just like doing it for fun. Like we were playing for friends, like everybody knew each other, but I didn't know like how was that contributing to the scene, right? And
Mm.
like I've had, some like people who have come to me, and especially because like all of this period, it was like before like I went to my university. So when I got to school, when I got to college, I've got a few people who were like, "Oh, you were the singer of CulturaFolk? Of course, I know that song." Or like, like that
Mm.
inspired me to like do this band, or like I was listening to you, or like, so like
That's
that.
amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, and then being it's such a small country and such a small scene, I mean, that really meant a lot to me, and like I didn't realize that until like years later, right?
Mhm.
Until
Mhm.
like, yeah. So that's the story of my journey on being in a band.
As most band stories go, it happened. It was amazing. You're gonna
Hmm.
have to start a new one. They're gonna have to start a new one in Brooklyn.
Oh my God. Well, that's part of the story too. That like when I moved here, like especially my friends, they were like, "Linda, why you haven't sing? Why you haven't sing now that you're in New York?" But I feel that it was intimidating, I would say, because like, well, first, like I arrived here, and as an immigrant, I was like, okay, I need to work. Like I was
Mhm.
like in survival mode basically, and like I didn't really have like the time or like the tools or like to do this, right? And also like I'm surrounded
Mhm.
by so many talents that I was like, I'm not gonna like compete with these people. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, it's just like that scariness of like doing and being in front and of a stage, or like, reconnecting with like your creativity. Like it was something that really intimidated me. And but just to like, I don't know if you have another question about that, but I mean that also relates on like how I continue to be attached to music and continue
Mhm.
to be in the world, in the music scene. Is that I was like, you know what, like I don't like, I can't do this. Maybe I could, but I didn't feel the strain, or like, the I didn't feel strong enough to like put myself out there again. But when I came to New York, like this, like New York really exploded my brain. And like, like I already had like, I was already connected to all this music scene in Nicaragua. Like I was listening, to like music from all over, right? Like I had like all these influences. But then when I came to New York, I got to experience live music, but from very, very different sounds and genres and countries that I had no idea that existed.
Mhm.
And that to me, it like my journey through music continued, and I just like rediscovered and reconnected in so many directions and ways with a lot of music, and also like including music that I knew but I didn't like, and then maybe that I liked but I didn't like. I don't know, I just felt it like different, like it had a
Mhm.
different meaning, it had a different yeah, it had a different meaning for me because like, it took me back home, it centered me, but also, my brain was just like, oh my God, like what is all this? Right. So I
Hmm.
just kind of like needed the time to like, process all of these
Mm.
things and like also like to discover my own skills and my own thing, right? So like moving fast forward, like I met people, I started going to concerts and I started going to this particular place that it still exists, it's called Barbez. And that particular place, like they have music every single day, and it's very focused on world music. And that to me was like, oh my God, like what is this, right? So I was like a regular there, and I met the owner of the place, and he's a producer too, so he started inviting me to collaborate with him, to like help him with like with like selling tickets, or like help him with like there was like a concert. He particularly asked me to like help him with like if he had like Latin American musicians where like he needed like some translation, like
Hmm.
I don't know, like I was just like there to like help him out. And then he recommended me with a band that was trying to find a band manager. So he was like, why don't you talk to Linda? I think and so they reached out to me, and I was like, what, me, a manager? I have no experience in that. They were,
Mm.
but they were like, no, but I think you can do it. Like, a lot of people, like you go to all these events, you're always helping, you know, try this. So that was like a whole other journey, right? On like behind the scenes of music. Like I was
Hmm.
like, I started, managing this band. It was called Super Mambo. They still exist. And I was involved in like production and promoting. And so yeah, like I've always been in the world music, like in
Hmm.
the music scene in New York, in Brooklyn in particular. And then at the same time in Nicaragua. So like I feel that I'm always like, running between the two bridges. I'm kind of like the bridge, and I'm always running from one place to the other and trying to make those connections, with people, but also in my own taste of music, or in my own like things that I'm interested in, things that I want to support and get involved with.
Hmm. Yeah, that is a great story. I also like to think that just as a person that comes from so many different backgrounds, that there is just never a bridge, that we're all just in an ocean and there's just
Yeah,
different oceans. There's no bridge, we're just floating
yeah,
back and forth towards all of
yeah,
the different areas.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a great journey. And a lot of
Yeah.
different hats.
A
So
lot of different hats. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
vocalist, band manager, and now event producer. You have the event, is it DiscoLocas?
Yeah, so okay, so now getting into my vinyl
Mhm.
thing, a vinyl thing. So vinyl, so yeah, so we have I'm part of DiscoLocas. DiscoLocas, it's a monthly party. Well, it used to be monthly, now we're doing it like every 2 months.
Mhm.
But this is a project that was started by my friend Loli Bonilla, Wild Roots. She's a music collector, vinyl collector, and music selector from Colombia. And so I started playing. Where should I start? Let me talk first about this. So basically, so the party. So this is a space that she started, where she would like curate a lineup of women vinyl selectors. Um, and So those are the two rules: only vinyl and female. um and so like this project started about a year and a half ago. And the idea, so she invited me to be part of the lineup, and like as she continued doing the monthly parties, like I was always there, like I was just like helping, getting the tips and talking on the mic, and like helping her with like whatever needed to
Getting
happen.
things done, getting
Getting
things done.
things done. Exactly. Getting things done. And so like and then like she officially invited me. She was like, Linda, like do you officially want to like be part of this? Can you help me? Because like producing these things, like, it sounds easy, or like it looks, once you see the flyer or once you're in the party, it's like, oh, it's all fun and and
Mm.
shots and party, and no, but like the work that takes is a lot, right? Um and so like working with somebody or working in collectives, I think it's like it's the best way for me also, and it has given me the the what is the platform where I can like really like do my own thing, and at the same time support, right, the community and the people who are part of all this movement and community. So so yeah, so the next we're actually just yesterday we had a meeting because the next event that we have is going to be on October 29th, and we're going to do a collaboration with this project that is called Handle with Care.
Mm.
It's kind of like the same like the same idea of like having a space where I have the notes here. I don't want to talk on behalf of Lamb Rabbit, who is actually a DJ, and she's the one who started this. And I think she's more like, she only has done it a couple of times, but she is like, I mean, she has way more experience in the vinyl scene and the DJ work than me. So we're working on this collaboration with DiscoLocas, Handle with Care, where we're gonna have a lineup of vinyl selectors, and we're gonna have vendors, and we're also going to have food pop up. And so yeah, that's coming up with vinyl. So when I moved to New York, I arrived, a friend of mine welcomed me. She's amazing. Like, she literally gave me a place to sleep, and she had a vinyl, she had a turntable at her apartment, and she had a few records, and that was like, oh, this is cool, let me get to listen to, right? And then, like, whenever I used to, like, stop by, like if I would see like records, like sometimes I even found like records, like, just like on the street that people would just like throw out. So like,
Wow.
yeah, so like whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, let me dig in here. And that's how I started collecting. And and then, like, whenever I start, if I would stop by at a record store, I would just, like, check a little bit and buy a few. But I was not intentionally buying records or collecting records. I was just doing that, as a side thing. But then, so that's how I started. And then in 2020, we all had a life crisis. I don't know if you remember that period of the history.
Well, things went differently in different places, but yeah,
Yeah,
definitely it was a cultural reset, as I like to say,
yes,
cultural reset.
definitely. And in New York, so I was
Mm-hmm.
saying before, like, I was already part of this community. I was already, like, producing. I was already, doing things. But this moment, like, it really, I mean, I just needed, like, something to, like, do. Like, I was like, okay, I went through, like, a whole period, and I surrounded myself with, like, a lot of, like, vinyl collectors and selectors.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this event where they had an open turntable, and I was like, okay, let me bring a couple of records. And I played them, and I was shaking, like, my hand, like, I couldn't, like, the needle was just like, I
Oh
was so
gosh.
nervous. Like, yeah, a friend of mine, like, he was like, Linda, breathe, like, you'll be fine. Like, I mean, I was so nervous to play a vinyl in front of people, right? In front of my friends, basically. But I was just so nervous.
But what were you
And
nervous about?
I mean, like, I feel that, I mean, being on the stage, it's always been a thing.
Mm-hmm,
Even when I was
mm-hmm.
a singer, like, first time that I sang, for example, the first time that I sang, I totally forgot the lyrics of the song.
There.
And, like, I remember that I just stared to, like, one of the musicians, and he was like, okay, cut it. And, like, we were like, move on, next song. We didn't even, like, try to play the song again.
Mm,
And, like, in the next song, I was able to sing. But, I've
mm.
always had, like, this, like, terrifying, how do you say, pánico escénico is how they say it in Spanish.
Stage fright, stage fright.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So when I got to play this vinyl, I was like, oh my God, but I did it. I mean, I played 5 songs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, like, my friend Loli, she was like, okay, Linda, it's official. Because I play salsa. She's like, there are just a few of women playing salsa. You are going to play for now on. And I'm like, okay, I guess it's official.
You're like,
And
sure?
I'm like, okay. So, it really started, like, as a way of, like, having fun,
Mm-hmm.
like, just, like, playing with my friends, and like our family, and, like, or friends meetings and birthday
Mm-hmm.
parties. And then, like, I slowly started to get, like, a little bit of more confident. I was like, okay, like, if I'm really gonna do this, I really need to, like, stuck my get to buy more records, and
Mm-hmm.
be more intentional in, like, what I wanna collect and what I want to play. And so that was, like, and that was 2 years ago, actually. It was not, so 2020 crisis, all that period. Then 2021, I was like, okay, I'll do this for fun just
Mm-hmm.
once. And then, I had all the friends pressure of, like, you have to do this, like, just try. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Because, like, I was also like, I also was trying to find a way to express and reconnect with my music love, right? And like, well, I didn't have a band, I couldn't sing, like what else I could do? Like, what's another easier way to like express myself? Let's do vinyl, right? So like
Mhm.
vinyl really offered me, the liberty to like, it's something that I could do at my own time, that I could do it by myself. I didn't have to like, go through all these logistical things that sometimes is very difficult for musicians, right?
Mhm.
So anyway, that happened, and then DiscoLocas was created by the end of that year, and I was again like super involved with it since the beginning, but not officially part of
Mhm.
it. But then, a few months after, like Loli, like she was like, I need help, like just like do it. And now I'm in this journey, right? So like I feel that I'm very grateful for that. And I feel that I get to express a lot of like, or show like a lot of like my taste in music with my curated sets. And I'm very responsible with that. I take it very seriously. It's not like, and I don't do it that often either, because like I don't want to burn myself out. And also I mean with
Mm.
vinyl, it's very different too. Like it's not like, I mean, you like it's physical, right? Like you have to
Mhm.
carry them, you have to buy them, you have to select them, you have to carry them, you have to like have all the setup to be able to play. So like it's I'm in this journey, and I hope I'll keep on going on this
Mhm.
journey for a long time, because like once you start, it's like you can't. I feel that I cannot stop, and
Yeah. It's
it's
a
been great.
responsibility, and you have to be like quite
Yeah,
intentional with it. I think it's like the same with like all physical types of like instruments or anything, because you have to care
yeah,
for this thing and make sure it's like well taken care of.
yeah,
You have to be way more intentional with it. Well, I mean, I guess
yeah.
some people aren't, but it's the best way to do it, the healthiest way, let's
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. And also, I mean, there's so much music too. And
Hmm.
like, I just feel that I'm like rediscovering a lot of music, actually discovering, like even like,
Hmm.
in this journey of vinyl digging, I've been discovering like even like Nicaraguan music that I had no
Mm.
idea existed.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, like this psychedelic rock from the 70s in
Hmm.
Nicaragua, I
Hmm.
had no idea this existed. And now like, that I get to like find these vinyl, or that there are people who are producing these vinyls who are like doing the work of like, all that. I see that as like really like anthropologic
Yeah, it is actually.
anthropology
Yeah.
work, of like digging all this music and going into those like history moments, on the live scene. And like, I mean, it relates to my own experience too, right?
Mm.
Like I was talking about a particular period in Nicaragua where like rock nica was like super alive. And then I mean there was all these different periods, right? So like I feel that sense of responsibility and on my curation. And I also get to like play and represent in a way, not really represent, but I really get to like showcase music that people don't really like know about it, like especially like I always try to play music from Central America, in Nicaragua, so that it's also kind of like a very correct, that's a characteristic of my like my sound, let's say,
Hmm.
from
Hmm.
music selections.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think a lot of the time, like music can inform the culture, culture can inform the music, and sometimes it's like
Mhm.
a political discourse and the soundtrack for whatever's happening within politics. So it's really great to
Yes.
like kind of dig into music. And for like I can say a lot of the time for like rock music, like it informs a lot of like it reflects a lot about like what people are talking about, what are issues people are having, especially like punk music specifically more,
Hmm.
so I really also
Yeah.
like to like dig more, because like you said, it's anthropological. You can learn so much about what's going
Yeah.
on with the people, with the country, and everything
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're talking about inspiration, culture, things we're listening to. We're on the segment. We're almost done. Don't worry.
Okay.
No, we don't need to be nervous. Nothing crazy is happening. But okay, passing the mic. If you had to pass the mic to somebody to listen to something, maybe something even that's part of your set, like who should people listen to? Who's inspiring you? Who's moving you? Who would you like to pass the
Oh my
mic to? Who
God.
do you think would even benefit from being part of this show? Like, it was so amazing to have you here, and it's so great that Chris put you on the show. So who would you like to pass the mic to?
Oh my God. That's how big I thought about it. I was like, oh my God, who do I recommend? Because like I just know like so many great, great people. Um, but I would say somebody that it's really inspiring for me, not only in the vinyl scene, but also as a musician, as an artist, is Prince of Queens. He is Prince of Queens. He's part of actually Combo Chimbita, who Chris
Okay,
also
okay.
mentioned. Yeah, so I think he's a producer, he's a musician,
Mm.
he's a producer, and he's a DJ. So I think he will bring like a great um like he just brings like so much knowledge also,
Mm.
you know, and like he has like that similar immigrant experience of like, you know, being from Colombia but also living in New York and being in the music scene. Yeah, and he's really you know, he's a beloved person in the community, and like we look up to him in a lot of ways, because like he's like one of like the first vinyl Latino selectors that I've met in New York, and I was like super impressed by what he's doing, and he's been doing it for so long too, which is
Mm.
like, you know, very very cool. I could recommend other people, but if I just need to do one, I will say him.
You can recommend more. You can recommend more, and it doesn't even have people that you want on the show, but people that you think
Oh,
people artists that you think people should be listening to, that they don't get enough recognition as artists that are doing some amazing work.
mhm.
Yeah, producers, other selectors, you know.
Yeah. Well, producers, I will say you should definitely check out Names You Can Trust. His name is Eric, and he has like this vinyl production, and it's amazing. Like he supports independent and local bands in New York, but he also has like a world music focus. I think,
Mm.
I mean, that disquera, that label, it's amazing. Names You Can Trust. And then let me try. For DJs, I would say, well, definitely get to know Wild Roots, Loli Roots. She's my partner in crime with DiscoLocas. I would say Adrian is hungry. Also, I think he's also like, you know, a producer here in the community. I will say Yana Alpa. She's an amazing selector. Dayancita. I'm talking all about vinyl selectors.
Okay.
So Dayancita, Voz Selecta, Laura se fue. Oh my God, Miss Hauptmann, I think she's amazing. And then other vinyl selectors that I don't know personally, but I follow them in social media through
Hmm.
Instagram, and I'm just like super inspired about the things that they do, and I just think they're like super rad. Women are what's her name, Coco Maria.
I've actually seen her play in Amsterdam.
Yeah, she's gonna
So
be in New
good,
York
so good.
soon. Yeah, so Coco Maria. Then there is this girl. Her name is she does this event in Mexico that is called Noche Negra. I think her
Mm.
name is Maria or Mariana. Yeah, I don't, but Noche Negra definitely. There is this girl too from DiscoDelica. She's a
Hmm.
Salvadorian selector, and she also has an amazing project that they, well, they have like a vinyl store, but they also like have produced some amazing music focused on Central America. Actually,
Mm.
it's through her and through her partner that I discovered like all this music, psychedelic kind of music and tropical music from Nicaragua from the 70s. Her name is Majo. And then there's this girl that she lives in Oakland, I think. Her name is Elise Locomotion.
Mm.
Yeah, all of these girls, all of these people are doing amazing work in the vinyl scene. And you know, they're all from like different parts of the world. But immigrants too, you know, I think like we do share a lot of like similarities, and I just love to see all these women, you know, taking turntables and, you know, having this space which has been dominated by men. You know, in general, you know, the music scene has always been, you
Hmm.
know, focused on men, but you know, women, we always been there. It's just like we've always been the minority, but now, like, you know, seeing all this women and having, I think social media is great in that way, that we get to connect and know like all these people from around the world, including you. I mean, I'm getting to know you, and you do like amazing, and it's crazy that we're connected. And you know, I don't know, the world, it's big, but at the same time it's so small,
So small, yeah.
and we're connected in so many ways.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing those amazing artists. You have to send me the links
Oh
because
my
it
god.
was, I mean, you listed just one. No, I'm kidding. But just make sure you send me the links of the handles so we can definitely share that
Okay.
with everyone to make sure that they check out
Okay.
these artists. Don't forget to send me the flyers so we can also get that information out to show people that if they're in the region, they can check you out. And thank you so much for being here for this episode. I can't wait to tell Chris this is happening. And I'm so happy to have been able to have the chance to speak to you and learn a little bit more about your music, your history, and everything.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm not this is like one of like the first solo interviews that I've had, and it's just like it's great to have the opportunity like to remember and, you know, reflect on all this thing and all this journey that, you know, sometimes like we just live our life
Mm.
and you're like, oh
Hmm.
yes, like I just do this. But you know, once you start like digging all of that, it's like it's very, you get you get
Yeah,
inspired
yeah, by your own journey.
by your
You're
own
like,
journey.
wow, you're like, I've been doing things
Yeah, you're like,
actually.
oh, I'm doing it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and in community too, right?
Hmm.
Because like I mean, all of these things, it's not you by yourself. Like
Hmm.
this really takes like a lot of people, to make these
Absolutely.
things happen, and it's so important to have each other's support, and and always one of the things, one of the lessons that I would say is that one of the things that I think it's so important is to keep curious, and I
Mm.
feel that that's been something that has drove me, through all these experiences, since a kid, just like hungry of like new things and curious about new things. And I mean, even if you're like shaking, you cannot even like play a record, but like
Yeah.
just like having the courage to do it and
Hmm.
having people who like support you, it's just like vital for me, and that keeps me alive.
Yeah, staying curious and not being scared to be able to be a beginner, because you can never get good without starting off and
Mhm.
being bad, right?
Yeah, yeah, and be humble in your journey all the
Yes,
time.
yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much again. And thank you everybody for watching. You will have the link up. We'll share it with you. And thank you for joining us again. Bye, guys.